Many of you know item recovery as the harbinger of death, the worst thing to ever happen to you, the thing that will kill Star Citizen and literally stop all looting from mattering in the game going forward. Yes, item recovery. It may have ruined your day back in March when they first added this to the game, and I'm sorry. You may remember when they brought in item recovery T0. If not, a little reminder. Items stored in your inventory will not be protected and will remain in your corpse upon death, available to be looted, stolen by other players, or retrieved by you. Items such as magazines and medpens that you have equipped can still be looted from your corpse. However, you will also respawn with these items, as duplication concerns for these types of consumables are less concerning at this stage. The actual change was that items will respawn with you. The exact item you had equipped at the time of death will respawn with you when you die, including weapons, armor, magazines, medpens, and your core loadout. However, items stored in your inventory, such as your backpack or other containers, will remain on your corpse, making them available for looting or retrieval. So this was tier 0 of item recovery. This was done because a lot of people still think this is a permanent change that was done to change the way the game plays. It was not. This was done as a response to player complaints. We're going to go back in time a little bit. Before the item recovery, before the cargo refactor was done. You guys remember this? This is when they were first talking about the cargo elevators and like how they would work and how physical cargo would work. September of 2023. We weren't even moving boxes around. You just press a button and all the cargo would pop into existence. Weird times. During this time though, they did address a problem that a lot of players had been having for the last couple of years now. Now that we were starting to get into an era of time where there was actually persistence problems, where you could lose things, where you could unlock new achievements and rewards in the game, people were starting to care more about being able to actually retain that stuff. So item recovery became a topic.
So lots of changes coming to Star Citizen with the work being done by the North America Persistent Universe team. So let's go ahead and let them bring it all home and see if we can't maybe just sneak in one more tiny, big addition people have been waiting for too.
Another big thing that we're working on is unique item recovery. This is something that the fans have been asking for a long time.
Now, keep in mind, this is 2023. This is a full year and a half. Almost 2 years, actually. This is more a year and 3/4 before they implemented item recovery tier 0. It was not just a knee-jerk reaction that they did.
And we're hoping that it's really going to finally resolve this problem of losing items or losing items mid-mission.
It looks like a simple subject, but there's a lot of little things to think about, like people buying some gear, giving to their friend and claiming it back. What happens to the version that was given to their friends, or even like if your body gets looted by somebody, how do we want to kind of cope with that?
So one of the ideas that we have running right now is that you would have a lost and found within your hab. So if you're playing, your mission crashes, you lose your progress, but you can go back to your hab, restart that mission, grab that item, and continue on where you left off. And we're really hoping to apply this to subscriber items and other unique items as well.
I think in the long run, we have a lot of plans. Just really trying to build out a feature set that can incorporate a lot of different ships, that can incorporate your teams, that allows you to be more in control and allows you to try to find the best ways that work for you and your group. And right now, that's the main thing we're working on.
Our universe is big. We're going to keep building more systems, more planets, and we really want to find a way to make that exciting. We want to have you take goods from one planet to the other, explore places that you haven't seen, loading up, organizing all of your gear, all of your equipment. That better be
somewhere in the game.
Having it.
This better be in the game somewhere.
Organizing.
It looks incredible. Picasso.
All of your gear, all of your equipment, having it snapped to a grid, keeping everything safe. And it's a huge part of Star Citizen and where we want to go with the game.
That is a summary of that we're working towards for physicalized cargo. Now, this is going to be an ongoing process starting.
Okay, so that is them talking about item recovery. And it wasn't until more than a year later that they actually were able to start rolling something out about it. They actually don't put that in here. I think it would have been great for them to put that in here as something to show how far back the references go for this kind of thing. But that's why we're here, right? We're making content out of their content. That's what we do. We just read the patch notes. Hey. So they did the tier 0 implementation of this earlier this year, and it has been annoying to a lot of people. I mean, I've found it annoying, but it has definitely made the game more playable, which was the point of 2025. In the meantime, while they worked on the real solutions for item recovery, which revolved around crafting. Since crafting, as we went over earlier, this stream got delayed and they couldn't release the forge and all that stuff. Obviously, this also wasn't able to be worked on. This was all the stuff we would have had last year if they hadn't focused so much on playability. That being said, I do think they made the right call, at least for the short term. But tier 1 is going to be coming soon. We've seen it in the monthly reports a couple of times. Obviously, with the way that they're talking about the inventory system and the crafting systems coming in, it is part of the new rollout in these features that they're going to be testing. Let's talk about what it is, though. It's going to introduce the ability to register your gear and ships at kiosks or ASOP terminals. So the guy in this video had mentioned something about a little thing that you could like.
So one of the ideas that we have running right now is that you would have a lost and found within your hab. So if
Right, so that would be kind of like the kiosk that he's talking about here, or the ASOP terminals. And they say here, personal loadout, personal player. Players can register their equipped items, which can be reclaimed for a fee at specific kiosks or freight elevators, so you're never losing your stuff. This is also important to remember when we talk about Death of a Spaceman going forward later, forever in the future. You're not ever going to actually lose your stuff if you register it or insure it, as we'll talk about later. Ships and interiors. Ships, along with their loadouts, decorations, and locker contents, can also be registered. They can then be claimed in the state they were previously registered at ASOP terminals for a price. We already do this. We claim our ships, we pay a price, it's a money sink. It'll become more of a money sink as we go forward. Looting and bricked items. Once an item is looted, it remains usable until the original owner reclaims it or marks it as stolen. At that point, a dead man's switch is activated, meaning it will cease to function after a period of time. We can see this in the inventory concept they have here. You can see down here, registered to John Doe, and then on the left side it says bricked. So you'll be able to always see who you might have stolen a weapon from, who lost that weapon, and you found it somewhere in some location. This is why I love persistence, man. Imagine going out somewhere in like just the most distant locations and finding like a random pistol, and then actually being able to see who that pistol belonged to, and then sending them a message and being like, hey, when were you out here? When did you drop this? They're like, that was 4 months ago. Bro, I'd be like, that'd be so sick. So I'm excited for that kind of thing. But as it is, you will be able to use other people's stuff. You will be able to loot other people's stuff. But if they do get back to somewhere and register it and mark it as stolen, you can't use it anymore. That being said, while a looted or stolen bricked item is no longer usable, you can still sell it for credits. So looting people for their really valuable stuff, as long as the economy is working correctly, should be good. What's going to be interesting is seeing if you could go and sell a bricked item or a stolen item to another player. Would they be willing to hold on to it until like T2 comes out or something? I don't know. All right, continuing on. They say that pledge items are going to be auto-registered. So this also falls in line with what was said at CitizenCon last year when they talked about 1.0. Richard Tyrer spoke at decent length here about insurance and warranties. Listen to the way he talks about this. This is all moving in the same direction. From inventory to crafting to insurance.
Insurance by itself will only pay out credits based on the wear and age of your ship. Insurance, I think you want to listen to this bit because it's important. Insurance with a warranty, though, will give you back a new ship, plus any other equipment or decorations based on the tier of insurance you had.
So clearly the insurance that we're working towards is just the registration they're talking about in this Tier 1 implementation that we'll probably see in 2026.
Okay, so this is the bit you need to listen to. All ships bought on the Pledge Store will come with a permanent warranty and their appropriate insurance.
And that is the auto registration of all pledge items in this Tier 1 implementation. So we're just moving slowly towards this full insurance situation. This is generally how insurance will work for anybody who's wondering that kind of question. We're already doing it to some extent whenever we claim our ships. This is just going to give us more visibility over what we're claiming and more choice to choose to claim something or not. Some people don't have the money, won't have the money, or don't want to put the money towards this stuff, or like the risk. And so they will go without insurance or without registration. Other people will pay that money, but that's kind of factoring into the fact that like you're going to have money sinks in this game. If you have like 20 ships, if you actually bring those ships into the physical game, you're going to have to pay for insurance, for the fees to store those ships wherever they are. If you use them a lot, obviously, you'd have to pay for like the upkeep of them. I think a lot of people are going to regret how many ships they have. And hopefully there is a way to loan and sell those ships in the future. But man, yeah, there's a lot of conversation, a deep rabbit hole to go from here. But this is where the game starts to get very real. And I think this is going to happen fairly soon after crafting comes in. The last point here says, with Tier 1, you will no longer respawn with your preserved gear already equipped. You will need to visit a location, that's that spot we talked about, that kiosk, such as your freight elevator, to reclaim your registered items. We are developing a quality of life feature to allow you to re-equip your previous full loadout with one auto-equip button at this location. That's how suit lockers are going to work. It's a big part of why people think this game is too slow. It takes forever to get your stuff back. If you register or insure your stuff, you'll be able to go back and click one button and have all your stuff right back there on your body. So certain parts of this game will slow down if you don't pay attention to them, but certain parts of this game are going to speed up because of quality of life and stuff. That's item recovery. After this, we will move to ways where you can restore a bricked item. This starts to get into fencing, smuggling, more kind of organized crime sort of stuff. And it's the ultimate goal for what they want to do in Star Citizen. But for now, we're looking at Tier 1, and that I think is coming probably in the next 3 months, 4 months maybe. Fingers crossed.